Very good. Mr. Tassoni.
Present. What? What? I don't. What was it?
I was calling roll.
Okay, you cut out for about 30 seconds. You were freeze frame.
See, that's what always happens to me here. That's okay. So Jaime's not here yet, so I don't know if he's coming or not. So let's. There's no minutes. I'm going to pass. There's not going to be any public comment. We know that. So let me go to the Angie. You want to give the you or Dorothy want to give the P&P committee.
You want to finish the roll call?
That is the roll call. There, I got Neighbors not here, Pillar's not there, and Salgado not there yet.
Oh, okay.
Well, I didn't call their names. You're right though on that. I should have called their names. Okay, so let's start with the committees. Who feels like going first?
The Personnel and Policy Committee, the only thing I see on that, and that's going to be on Thursday night, is a resolution regarding communications with the Chicago Rockford International Airport Director. That I see on here. And the question I have, if any of you have read today's paper, that they have, it's stated in there that they have 3 candidates for the administration position. Have any of you heard anything about it?
No.
What administration position?
The one that we've been working on, that we gave to the workforce or whoever.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, right. I've seen in the paper, yeah.
And so, but I talked to someone who applied for that, and they told her Friday that they were going to be looking at more people this coming week. So I don't know what's going on down there. We need to know more, and we need to know why it was in the newspaper when none of us have been told about it to begin with, that they had 3 candidates. What, Dorothy, quit laughing.
Why is it in the paper and we don't know about it?
That's exactly.
An email.
But they
you know what? I'll try to give Mr. Haney a call and find out what he knows, and Mr. Chapman. So I'm sure one of them knows.
Because they say they have 3 candidates for us to review. So I just, that's all I know at the time.
Yeah, I've seen that too, Dorothy. I mean, Angie.
See it this morning too?
Yeah, I've seen it in the paper. I didn't read too much into it because I figured it just happened because there was one person that they announced, a week ago, I think. So I don't know what they're doing. If they're waiting to pile them up and go through them, I don't know. Bert, have you heard anything?
I haven't heard anything. I heard that Paul Arena, well, just what he was quoted, that he was going to have something for us to look at really soon as far as candidates are concerned. They were going to start weeding them down.
Mr. Fellers has joined us. Hello, Mr. Fellers.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey,
Good.
look at this man, got a new trim. Look at him.
Had to, man. It was getting a little rough. Getting a little rough.
Did one of the kids do that for you?
My girlfriend did it actually. Well, she did the sides, and I had to do the top to clean things up a bit. I can't see the back of my head.
We're right now, and we're talking about the applicants from the for the county administrator, right, Angie?
Yep. Have you heard anything, David?
No, I
mean, Mr. Fellers.
Oh.
All I've heard is that it got delayed because of COVID, and when asked about it, Mr. Arena said that, oh no, we're working on it. We'll get someone there quickly. So.
About the newspaper today was mentioned that they have 3 candidates. And then I talked to someone who had applied, and they told them that they were still going to be looking at more candidates this coming week. So.
Angie, was that a local person?
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you call me after this meeting, please?
If I think about it, yep, I will. Let me put it down here.
You have anything else for the P&P committee, Angie?
Not that I know of at this time, other than we're going to meet on Thursday in regards to that letter to Mr. Dunn.
Okay. Dan, you want to do economic development?
Hold on, I don't have the agenda in front of me. Give me a second. Do we even have anything for economic development this week?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
No, nothing.
No.
All
No, let me just
right.
look at the board. Let me look at the board agenda.
Yeah,
Hold on.
nothing on the board agenda.
Yeah, no, we got nothing.
How about
Nothing
zoning?
for zoning.
Joe,
Zoning? Yeah, Angie?
I'm just looking at our agenda for Thursday night, and that resolution of fixing compensation and other benefits for certain elected county officials will be coming forward. A resolution authorizing the chairman of the county board to execute an agreement with GovTemps US for the employment of intern county administrator Steve Chapman, so that he can go until we get this person. I can't remember, it's another, I don't know, 4 months or something, so that we can hire and he can do the training.
Yeah.
And a resolution regarding, for Dorothy, communications with the Chicago Rockford International Airport Director. Those are the three things coming up under that.
Did you say one of them was the increase of payment at River Bluff, or is that something else?
Nope, nothing about River Bluff on here. What were you thinking?
Remind me when we get there, because I want to bring something up about that, about the wages, okay? Let's go to public safety then. Ms. Laurel or Mr. Fellers, you all on there, aren't you?
Oh, wait. Yeah, we've got our resolution extending the intergovernmental cooperation agreement for police services with the village of McChesney Park. This is just another 1 month extension because they're not ready yet. They passed unanimously without debate.
Okay, Ms. Fellers, I'm keep you going. How about zoning?
Nothing.
I have a question
Yes, Dorothy.
about public safety. And I thought I read someplace that there was a crash on Saturday. Did that involve our deputies?
Where was it at?
Well, I don't know exactly, but it seems that the Loves Park police chased some people and they crashed.
That was Loves Park Police, that's not us.
That was
Loves Park is police, do they not?
Yeah.
Okay, so it did not involve our sheriff deputies. Okay.
Mr. DeSoni, Public Works.
Yeah, I got a handful of items here. Like I said, we've got a resolution for award of a bid for the second 2020 general letting. It was just some items that weren't on the first package. These are annual items. I didn't look at the bid tab, but it's probably like road stone aggregate and some culvert pipes and things. There was just some things that weren't on the original package. The other thing, it's coming into Thursday night before board. It's the quotes for the supply of electricity for our traffic signals throughout the county. And the reason we're bringing it in 15, 20 minutes before board, because it's like a live auction type thing, how you're locking in an interest rate on a mortgage and, down to the wire. They won't lock in the rate until you're ready to sign the paperwork. So we're basically going to get our pricing right before the board when we're going to vote on it, because I guess we'll get the best rate that way. And they just won't lock you in until you're ready to sign the paperwork.
Mr. Tassoni?
Yes, Angie.
David? Is
Yes.
these going to be solar lights, or this is actually electricity off of wires?
This is for the supply of electricity. Whoever that supplier may be, no different than you purchase it for your own home.
I have a question.
Yes,
Have you thought about trying to use solar?
We've talked, there's pros and cons with solar. What are you gonna do in the wintertime when it's dark and there's no sun and your street lights don't work? Your traffic, these are for traffic signals. So you gotta be pretty reliable. And, there's been some solar things out there for flashing red lights, rural and things of that nature. But my best guess is Have you tried solar at your house?
I'm thinking about it.
Well, it's about a 20-year payback, and they last 20 years if you put panels on your house. So generally, it's a break even in 20 years, and then you need new ones. So we've had discussions about it, certain particular flashing orange, flashing red, some things that, cautionary out in the rural community. But I just don't think, you're not going to put solar on dozens, if not upwards of hundreds of traffic signals throughout the county. I just don't think it's reliable. So no, we haven't really discussed it in depth, but we've done it in some applications out in the country where we just needed flashing red and orange and maybe an overhead light, types of things like that.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else?
Yeah, I got a few things.
Go ahead.
That was that. We're gonna lock that rate in, like I say, shortly before board. There's a resolution. There's some engineering costs regarding the widening and resurfacing out on Baxter Road. It's basically a $75,000 EDP grant, and Winnebago cost us 75, but that'll be coming our portion will be coming our motor fuel tax dollars. And like I said, the other thing was the lighting that's coming in. And just a couple other notes. I don't know if it was it John Butita? He sent out an email, and we had some discussion from Carlos. State representatives, I believe it was Severson and Sosnowski, secured upwards of $1.2 million in total. And that is going to be for improvements at Bell School and Guilford Road, for improving that intersection in front of Christian Life Center there. And those were monies that they both secured from downstate that they're offering to the County Highway Department to improve that intersection. And kind of unbeknownst, it was something maybe we forgot about. They talk about, at certain times, they talk about monies that are floating around, whether they be federal or state grants. Have no idea when you're getting them or if you're getting them. Well, the County Highway Department did get a letter from the state that they'll be receiving $6 million over 4 years. I believe it's $1.5 million a year for 4 years from a state bond grant. I think it maybe has something to do with the increase in motor fuel or the gas tax. And our portion is $6 million over 4 years to fix some roads. So that was both, good news there. And Bert, if you want to add to that a little bit.
Yep, sure, David. Thank you. It was 9.4 over 3 years. So we get, roughly about 1.5 million twice per year. So we did get our first check. We have to spend that money by July of 2025. So just keep
that whole dollar amount, yeah.
Yeah, and it has to be shovel ready, basic IDOT construction. So it has to be a total reconstruction. We're not talking about repaving streets or anything like that. So just keep that in mind that this won't be going for repaving streets. This will be for construction projects, total rebuilds as far as the state goes.
Yeah, and thanks, Bert. Like I said, I don't know where I got $6 million. I was just thinking 1.5 times 4. But if that is, like I say, the $9+ million, and we did talk about, I think we talked about, there's $1.5 million of engineering studies that has to happen first out on Riverside and Forest Hills area. So we had a little light discussion on if we'd be taking that first lump sum of money and applying it to that. And like, as if Bert said, this does have to be things that are ready to go and ready to spend, So we've got a handful of things in the works. And like I say, hopefully that money just keeps coming.
Anything else?
That's about it in a nutshell.
Okay, we'll go to operations. Dorothy, anything operations?
Ooh, I don't have my agenda in front of me, and I'm out of
Oh.
town. Can someone cover for me there?
I don't see anything on the agenda for operations.
No.
Okay.
I didn't think so. Finance, Bert.
There's just the ordinance for the 2019 property tax waiving late penalties, but if you might have noticed or not, but there is some state legislation moving through the state. I'm not sure if they got that passed yet or not, but it would basically do what we were talking about in a wider scale. So if it was up to me, I would just say that we let this one go, and for once we'll rely on the state. I think what we do, at least with this ordinance, is a small step for just a few people. I think if we're going to do something, let's do it for everybody. There's no questions. There's no legalities about it. So I would say let's let the state take care of this one. That's where I'm at on that. But
I
it's up to
think,
you guys.
I think that's not a bad idea.
Is it discussion or is it gonna need an up or down vote, Bert?
Well, it's up there as an ordinance. I'm not sure. So there were some last minute changes to some language I think they were trying to put through. So it will be up for a vote as far as I know.
And
Unless it comes through committee on Thursday.
are you recommending that we vote it down?
I would recommend that. I just, the applications that come in, if you looked at the criteria, you have to be denied benefits, you have to be unemployed, you have to be out of work due to COVID, the business. There's just, the auditor, Mr. Crowley, thought there would just be a very, very few people that would even apply that would meet the criteria. So it really doesn't sound like that we're helping people out, but just maybe a few people.
Have they even called the meeting for that yet? Because it's not on the revised agenda.
Well, I wonder if that's going to be on Thursdays. I was just on the standing. Let me go back to standing and see.
No, they've got to do it today. If they're gonna have a meet, if they're gonna do that, today's Tuesday. If there's no meeting by right now, if nothing went out, we can't put it on the agenda.
Well, it's on the county board agenda for Thursday for board agenda. There's no discussion on any committees prior to that. So out seeing the document, and I'm not sure if they got that out.
There is a document, and I saw it online, probably over the weekend or the end of last week, that you might want to go through and see. It's kind of like what Bert said. There's a lot to it. In fact, you just kind of wonder who's going to do all that paperwork on it.
Guys,
On the other hand, if it helps 100, that's more than, of them not getting help and possibly losing their homes. We don't need more of that on our backs. So if that can get straightened out and the language can get straightened out, go back and look and see. There it goes. Oh no, that's our agenda I'm looking at. How did I get that?
I just pulled this up. This is the agenda for this board meeting.
Yep.
And I'm not sure I see. Oh, is this one modified 2019 property?
Yep.
Under finance.
Mm-hmm.
That one, the ordinance. Okay. Did you guys already vote on that ordinance then in committee? Because they can't call a finance committee meeting for Thursday now. We're past the 48-hour notification time.
It's a draft. The one I saw was a draft. The draft really needs some critiquing.
Mm-hmm.
You should have gotten it last week. Go back into your computers and take a look and see if you can find it.
Yeah, I'm just saying that, like, looking at that. Let's see, economic development, public safety.
But I wish I knew how to do that.
No, you don't, David. You'd be like me. I'd be screwed.
So there it is. It was item D on last Thursday. Did you guys pass it out of committee?
But that was posted to us prior to that.
Right. What I'm asking though is, did this pass out of committee, or did you send it back to get worked on some more?
Well, it was a draft. I'm assuming it got sent back to have more work done to it.
All right, we've got to get some clarification, I think, from Jaime on that one.
Yeah, let's get some clarification on the Jaime. I can't recall exactly. I know Mr. Kurlinkus was going to send out another copy. They were just working on it and finishing it up. So he might have sent that out to the county emails. And they were supposed to do that last week before our meeting, but I don't think it got done. But I don't know if and if I can, Treasurer already sent out the tax bills and gave people the option of breaking it down into 3 payments. So I don't know if waiving the fees and penalties, really, if the state's going to do it and we're going to do it, it sounds redundant.
Every
All right, well,
county,
we probably better have our, if, I mean, look, put it this way, if we're gonna vote this down, Bert,
Well, I don't think we have to vote it down, but we can lay it over.
Okay.
We can always bring this back and retro it. So if, it comes down to it and the state doesn't pass it, then it's always there. I say not vote it down, but maybe just lay it over and bring it back. Just in case.
good
the
idea,
state-
Bert.
yeah, that's a good idea. Just from an optics standpoint, we don't want to necessarily vote that down, I don't think.
Yeah, no, let's not vote that down. Let's just lay it over, send it back to committee and see what the state does. And if they don't do anything, then we can look at it and tweak it and see if we can actually give some help to some other folks.
I have a question. I know that you people can answer for me. Is it still true that a landlord cannot evict a person during the
As far as I know,
I believe that is the case. Same thing with mortgages.
that is the case?
Yeah, I believe that is still the case.
Right, Dan?
Yeah.
Okay, so my thought on that, just really quickly, don't mean much, it's just my thought, is why would we let somebody else get kicked out of the house they're buying if we can't kick somebody out that's renting? As far as the tax situation, it doesn't make sense to me.
yeah, technically they wouldn't be kicked out until the taxes went to the tax sale. They didn't pay the taxes and someone else bought the taxes. So it would really be a couple-year process. And I think most of the people.
It just didn't make sense to me that we'll protect one group, but the other group has got money invested in their house and everything else. They're just out of luck.
I mean, that could be, we could simply just, ask the chairman, because that's the chairman's purview, right? To stop any, well, first off, there's no court cases happening right now anyway, right? The courts are shut down, so we can't, no one is going to lose their house in that time anyway. And since that's, part of the whole, essentially one of the duties of the chairman, just tell them to stop any proceedings should the courts reopen until this passes, or at least until the law changes for renters and for owners, right, when it comes to mortgages.
Yeah. The reason I brought it up was through all this discussion about this, I didn't hear anybody else bring it up. And I know both you guys, how you feel, and I'm surprised nobody brought it up. So I thought maybe that had been, changed.
Joe, I'm
So
glad you did bring it up,
Thank you.
because this just isn't for housing. Remember, there's industries, there's businesses who are going to have a hard time paying their taxes at this time. So it's not just houses. If, with myself, I'm not worried. I make it in my mortgage payment. So you'd have to figure out that probably 75% of the people make their taxes payment through their mortgages. And as long as they're paying for their mortgages, they're going to be okay. They'll be taken care of. But we have other industry. We have other small businesses that have to pay their taxes too right now. And so we have to look at the whole picture, not just a portion of the homeowner. It's a big picture out there. And it behooves us to really go over this and take a look at it. And because I know I saw the draft. I was going to read it over the weekend and I forgot about it. But we need to go over that draft, take a real close look. I think laying it over is the best suggestion we can make at this time until we find out who it all encompasses, because it's not just the homeowner, I don't believe.
Okay. Well, I just want to make sure, that my thought was everybody get protected, not just.
That's right. That's right,
Go
Joe.
ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. Like I say, some of my thoughts is just like, I remember hearing, I forget who it was speak to it, but how many hoops and hurdles would someone have to go through, and after all the time and effort, how many is it going to actually help? And like I say, what's the criteria for it all?
Yeah.
Like I say, it's in that draft. You try and go back and see if you can find it. It was last week that we got the draft. And it's exactly what it is, and that's where all the changes will have to be made. And what you think shouldn't be, that's when you speak up, and that way they can change it here locally.
Yep. All right.
Got anything for ops? Is that it? Finance, Bert?
That was just it. That was all.
That was all of it?
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna, at this point, that's all the committee stuff. I am going to give Dorothy the floor. Dorothy, do you want to speak about your issue? Did I lose Dorothy?
She's still on there, logged in, but
Dorothy, you are muted if you are trying to reach us.
I'm sorry, what
There
did
you
you say?
Dorothy, I'm gonna give you the floor if you wanted to speak about your issue that you and I talked shortly about before everybody showed up. I'm gonna give you the floor at this
Oh,
time.
okay. I think that the issue should be laid over. To me, it's not that big of a rush to put someone on the airport board. I think I deserve an apology for Mike Dunn. And I would like all of you to vote no. If Mike Sablaski's name come up, let's lay it over. And he's not the only person out there that's qualified. There are other people. So I don't know how you're gonna vote, but I don't think we should just give Mike what he wants. With him speaking to me the way he did, it's not right and it's not fair. And if you vote yes, it's not fair to vote yes to me. If he's that big of a man, he needs to apologize.
Anybody got any comments on that? Anybody got a follow-up?
I would just say, yeah, Dorothy, I sympathize. I think it was a rotten deal. I think it's terrible that someone would, go that far and express how they feel. I mean, keep that kind of stuff to yourself. Don't make it public and don't slam a board member and all that. I get it. One of my thoughts is whether it's a cemetery board, all these boards that we appoint, and yeah, it happens to be Mike Dunn and he slammed doing all that, but I'm just kind of lean to whoever the director or the president of these boards are. I'd just like to see who they want. I mean, it makes a little bit of sense to me that they're getting the people they want on their board, and I don't know who's the best or who's not. I think I just lean towards whoever that board makeup is, whether it's a director, a president, or whatever it is. I just kind of lean to giving them who they want, because I don't know who's best for the job or not. I mean, there's probably 100 people that would be good.
What I'm saying, we should not, with him speaking to me the way he did, we should not just, lay it over. That guy needs to apologize to me.
All right, let me go to, go ahead, Dave.
I would support a layover. Sorry, Dan.
Go
All
ahead,
right,
Dave.
I'm gonna go to Dan then.
All right.
And Bert.
Yeah, look, I say this. I think what Mr. Dunn said to you and then that letter was completely inappropriate, and he absolutely 100% owes you an apology on that. I think my take is this: is that I don't want to mix personal and politics on this one, right? I mean, that was a personal attack and it was completely uncalled for. But at the same point, right? I don't think that should be a reason that we withhold a vote on Mr. Shablaski. I think I know Mike. I know he's incredibly well qualified for this position on the airport board. And right now the airport's our biggest economic driver, and we need that thing pumping at 100% to get us out of the coming economic downturn. Right. I mean, if you see the sheer quantity of airplanes coming in and out of, I was playing Sandy Hollow yesterday, and all day long planes coming in and out of the airport. It's an impressive thing to see, and we commented on it that a region's doing well when their airport's busy, and I don't want to mess with that. So I think asking, demanding an apology, whether through an official act of this board, is absolutely appropriate. But let's not intermix the two.
I disagree with you. I disagree with you, but that's me. You're entitled to your own vote. I'm just asking the other fellow Democrats, let's lay this over. Let's lay it over.
I was going to answer to Dan's statement. I too agree. I mean, hear what you're saying, Dan. I've talked to other people who said that really that the certain gentleman we're talking about is not. These are other Republicans have told me this, and so I don't know. But they think there's people that are just as qualified as him. I don't know. But the biggest point comes down to how do we go about getting an apology or at least some kind of understanding with Mr. Dunn, with Dorothy, or any rest of us, because this ain't the first time people have been attacked. I brought it up the other day. If you look at the two mailers for two candidates, basically we were all called crooks, and everybody just kind of poo-pooed that one, and I took great offense to it, but other people didn't. And I still have the two posters. I took such offense to it. Mr. Tassoni.
Thank you, Joe. Is there something that like I say, I agree that what he did was bad. I'd feel the same way Dorothy does. That's really bad to even speak to somebody that way. Is there something we could do as far as a document that could be read at board and at least publicly let whoever the media or Mike Dunn know and the rest of the board know that this is how we feel as a caucus or whatever? I mean, I would be in support of something like that, you know.
Thursday night, the Personnel and Policy Committee is going to be working on this. Yes, we are going to have a document, and we need to have that document put together, because that's an insult to all of us on that board. I am very tired. I've known Mike Dunn for 30 years, maybe more, and I'm tired of hearing, well, that's the way he is. He's been getting away with this type of stuff for years, of insulting people, and that's the way he is. Well, I'm sorry. He doesn't owe just Dorothy an apology. He owes a whole board an apology of how he conducted himself. Yes, it has nothing to do with Mr. Sablisky. It has to do with his attitude, and that's the way Mike Dunn does things. Sick of it. And we all need to stay together on this and let us get the document. I believe we have asked the Kurlinkus or someone to help us draft that. And that way, hopefully, you can have it coming up. We will bring it up Thursday at the board meeting.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what Mr. Fellers is saying. The two should be separated, but at this point, that's our only leverage. But I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. We just have to find a way to find an answer to what we're going to do with this in the future, and Dorothy should not have to put up with that kind of stuff. But you had your hand up a long time ago. You have anything to say?
Yeah, thanks, Joe.
I got Bert.
You know, I have to agree with Mr. Tassoni. Mr. Fellers brings up some valid points too. But I think the whole thing is that when one person, especially of the caliber of Mr. Dunn, and seeing that his title and what he does for this community, he should know better. He should have been smarter. He should have never wrote what he wrote. Absolutely. That was just awful. And Angie, Ms. Gorel's right. It's not attack just on Dorothy, but it's attack on this Winnebago County board, every single one of us. So whether or not you want to hold that over Dunn's head and not appoint someone until you get an apology, I can understand that. But I think getting an apology from Mr. Dunn is probably about the same odds as getting an apology from our president. I just don't think it's going to happen.
That's some real truth there, Bruce. Bert, that's some real truth there.
You're absolutely right on that, Bert. I agree with it. But it's an insult to all of us. And we're, you know, we have three different parts to our board. We have the Republicans, the Democrats, and those who are on Mike Dunn's committee.
Yeah.
So, and it's true. Let's take a look at the truth of this. I know I shouldn't be saying this because this is going to be to everybody who wants to look at it. But this is what it's boiled down to. And that's not the way it should be. And sooner or later, someone's going to have to drop the hammer and say enough is enough. And however that comes down, it has to start with an apology, not just to Dorothy, but to our whole board. I'm tired of people looking down at us.
Yeah.
We are an intelligent board. We do the best we can. And if anyone else wants to do it, let them come forward and run for election. But
Well,
until that time, we have to do what we have to do.
I know this, if one of us would have wrote that the other direction, it would have been all over the paper, all over the news, all over everywhere. So yes, I agree with what Bert said and everybody else. This was an affront to all of us. I just want to, my point the other day was when I said there's people on the board right now that had literature passed around calling us all crooks, and we didn't hold them accountable for it. So in a way, I'm saying more what Dan said, that how do we hold Sobolewski over it if we didn't hold the other people accountable for what was in their literature about all of us being crooks? So that was my point. But at the same time, I understand what Dorothy had to go through was wrong. So we have to come up with something. I don't know if it's holding the person, if he's the most qualified is the right answer, but certainly there has to be something that addresses this issue. It can't go on anymore. So maybe the letter, maybe a doc, I don't know, but whatever it is, Mr. DeSoni.
Thanks, Joe. I'm just curious, what did we do that we were crooks about?
I don't know. It was one of those things that was never just said. It said that they're all crooks. It was just a line out there. I have it. I'd be more than glad to show it to you. When I got it the first time, I told the whole finance committee about it and wanted to know why any of the Republicans weren't going to say something about it, since they've talked about them too.
Just the first I heard about it, I'm just curious what it was about.
Well, I'll show it to you. I'll be glad to show it to you. I carry it around with me. So anyway, Dorothy, is there anything you want to add to that?
No, we just all need to stick together. Like Angie said, he owes the whole county board an apology.
I
And I would not cave in. I would not cave into this, you know.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. All of us. Mr. DeSoni.
thanks, Joe. Dorothy, just like to say, just so you know where I'm at, I'm in favor of Sobolewski, but I'm also in favor if we want to make him sweat it, hold it over, lay it over, wait for an apology,
Let's lay it over and see what happens. I mean, I have nothing against Sobolewski, but we need to lay this over.
I would be okay with that.
Okay. How about the rest of you?
Well, I'm okay with it. I'll listen to what everybody else has to say.
So am I. Take a vote.
Bert?
Yep, I'm okay with it, but I think that we need to state that we're laying this over until Mr. Dunn apologizes.
That's right.
Thank
We
you.
have to have,
Make it
we
a
have to have a
statement.
reason why.
Yeah, this isn't about Mr. Sobolewski. We all agree that. This is
Yeah.
more about the actions of the director of the Rockford International, Chicago, whatever you want to call it. Director of the airport,
Okay.
you know? So that's what I'll say that, and I hope every one of you, when we lay it over, say, I vote to lay it over, and why, when you go to vote, say why. Because I
Yeah.
think Mr. Dunn owes us an apology. All of us.
Mr. Powers. You have your hand up?
Yeah. I just feel like we're getting ourselves into a pissing match that no one wins on. I mean, I get what everyone is saying here. I really do.
Yeah.
But we're supposed, I mean, look, we're supposed to rise above the idiots.
That's exactly
Yeah,
what we're.
We're supposed to rise above the people that fish. No, we're not. We're engaging. That's my point. Is we're not rising above. Insulted. We all, as you said, we all got insulted, And we can engage and say, we're going to hold this over and not do it, and say, you're fine. You don't want to apologize. You're not going to get your guy. That's engaging on this and not rising over it or rising above it. In this case, I think we've got to be leaders and say, yeah, he said something really bad and we call him out everything, but we get this done and it moves on. Otherwise, it's just going to keep going and going and going. And it's going to make us look bad, whether we're right or not. I think end of the day, it doesn't matter if we're right or wrong. It's going to look bad because it's another stupid pissing match, right? We don't need to be in a pissing match.
I disagree with you, Dan. It's not a pissing match. This guy who might be a bully, he might not. I don't think we should let him do what he did and not ask for an apology. I disagree with you. It's not a pissing match. He needs to do what's right. And we shouldn't have to tell him to do it.
If the shoe was on the other foot, we would have to apologize as a whole.
Yeah.
We wouldn't do something that's stupid, I would hope.
You don't know that. We've done some silly things. Not stupid. Silly things.
That's it.
But in the long, what are you laughing at, Joe?
I'm
But
laughing.
anyway, we have to make a stand someplace because we are elected officials. We represent a lot of people. An assault like that to Dorothy is an assault to all of us, plus the people we represent. Sorry, Dan. Roll your eyes. But
I get no, Angie, I get that, right? But that's exactly what that's exactly what this board has been doing for 4 years now. It's getting in these personal pissing matches and letting it get in the way of actual business.
right, and who's been starting those matches?
I don't care, but if we're engaged in it, we're just as culpable.
When do you stop though, Dan? When is enough enough?
I don't care. This stuff, you know what? End of the day, people say nasty things about me all the time for the way I vote or for what I've done or for this things. I don't give two shits.
Dan, I don't either. But if I was in Dorothy's shoes, I would ask for an apology.
We should all ask him for an apology. But let's not let it get in the way of county business. Because people don't care. People don't care. No one cares. No one besides us cares.
What do you think?
Anyway, I don't know. I hear both sides of it, and I don't think it should get in the way of business. But at the same time, how do you stop somebody from doing that if you don't confront them, Dan? That's what I want to know. What do you do? Just let it go over, and then the next time it happens again. What do you do then? You're losing me. I agree with you on a lot of it. You're losing me on the part where we just let it happen.
All right,
Let's take a vote.
What is ultimately, let me just ask the question. What is ultimately, let's forget who it is. Someone in let's just say it was the sheriff or someone like that. And he's just being a dick, right? Yeah. For lack of a better word. This is getting recorded so that people can see it. But, being a bully, right? If someone is being, like this is being a bully, right? We can engage them in the media. We can engage them through opinion pieces, all the rest. At the end of the day, putting someone on a board or passing a resolution or funding a budget is an operation of government and of the work of the people. These are the things don't let that get in the way. Right, get that work done, and then go on to WREX or go on write your opinion piece and say, Mike Dunn Sr. owes the county board an apology, right? And say go to Isaac and say Mike Dunn Sr. Owes us an apology, and keep saying it over and over and over again, but don't let it get in the way of the business.
Well, I think that's what we're trying to avoid. That's pretty much what the consensus of the committee has said, that we're trying not to get it in the way of Mr. Sabowski, right?
But no, but what was said was we lay it over until he apologizes, right? We have now just mixed county work with county government work and our personal feelings, and this is not we just don't want to go down this way. It doesn't make us look good. Let me ask a question, and let's try the other way. Did we nix it or did he nix it if he don't apologize? Put it this way, I'm just going to tell you this: it's the way it's going to play out as another pissing match to make us all look bad.
All right.
That's the way it's going to play out.
Well, yeah, especially if somebody,
Try it, we won't.
Newspaper, you're probably right. Bert, I think I seen your hand up.
And I was just going to make another Trump-nology thing. Trump, anytime he doesn't like what the governor says, he threatens to cut off their funding for everything. So, we're just following the lead of the president. That's all we're doing.
Great. Just what I wanted to hear. Hey, guys, I got to go eat dinner. What's the next thing on the agenda?
No, but
Yeah,
Dan does.
the last thing I'm going to say is I don't think it was a bad situation. I agree with Dan and your Mike. There's no good way to deal with this. And we don't need bad publicity, but also we do not have to take this kind of treatment from people. So we have to come up. We have to answer it somehow. I think it's still discussion. I don't think we're going to settle it today. So, but I'm perfectly willing to listen to what Dorothy wants, and she's the person that was harmed.
Go lay down.
So, should we move on or?
Move on.
Move on.
Okay, let's move on.
Move on. We're not going to be able to settle
Is
this.
there any other discussion about? I know Keith wanted me to bring up a little bit about the replacement for Mr. Boomer and where that's at. And I got the idea that he wanted to, well, I guess, I'm not sure what he wants to do with this one.
I talked to him today. I talked to him today too, Joe.
Yeah, let me just finish what I have to say, then I'll let you have it, Dan. I think my whole intention through this whole thing has been to support the Republican caucus chair, and the belief that they would support us if we had the same type of decision. This shouldn't be something that the Democrats have to make the decision. This is something the Republicans should have a pick, and we should just be basically saying it. So that's how I feel about it. So I support Keith and what his pick is, and I would ask the rest of you to do that. But at the same time, you don't have to. I don't expect you necessarily to follow me. I would just like you to do it. So that's strictly up to you guys, though. So Dan, you wanted the floor. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I talked to Keith as well. I mean, I think his intention is to get the chairman to bring Lindmark back up for consideration. There's no reason why you can't do that. I'll say this: I'm with Joe on this one. I mean, we should not be getting involved in the Republican Civil War, and that's exactly what's going on, right? You've got half of their party, wants to go one way, the other half wants to go other way. Obviously this thing split 5-4, whatever it was, by one vote in their own caucus meeting, it sounds like, on who they were going to support. And they're probably still arguing about it right now. Ultimately, the Winnebago County Republican Party is not part of the board, and therefore doesn't get a say. They can only influence their own caucus on who to nominate and what to do. What, you're losing me? No, look, it's if the caucus, it's our job, I think, as Democrats to support person X because they did the same for us, and that's the way it's always been.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I honestly don't like any of the candidates they're putting forward, but I'm not going to because they're either pro-sheriff or they're pro-Tea Party.
And I don't like being put in the middle of it either. So
yeah, I'm with
Can we refuse to vote?
I tried that one. I got kind of Mr. DeSoni.
Thank you, Joe. And if Mr. Kalinkas is listening or whatever, I had talked to Keith as well today too, and I was just thinking, what would it take, legislative wise or ordinance wise, that when it came to a board appointment, that the only party that vacancy was that they were the only ones that would vote on it. Is that doable?
Hmm.
Mr. Chairman, if I could.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm jumping back and forth. I want to be able to give advice if it's required of the state attorney's office between either of the caucuses. So far, it's been pretty simple because you had joint caucuses, but tonight reminds me that evening that I was trying to do a county board meeting and a school board meeting at the same time. But anyway, no, Mr. Tassoni, I don't think you could. You can't make that restriction. As a county board member, you each have a right to vote on any issue that comes before you. So you can't restrict even an appointment, vote on an appointment. You can't restrict it only to people of the party from which the appointment's supposed to come.
Can we abstain?
Just as a, I would ask about that abstention too. But this all went wrong, and I can say I only know what I hear, and I heard the precinct committeemen in that district were unanimous in the recommendation. That's what I heard. I don't know where it went through at the Republican Central Committee, and it just seems like it's been through 3 different entities here, and not all of them are on the same page. So that's where it all went wrong to get to us to where it's still wrong, you know.
Right. I don't, let's, if I could, the rules for abstaining from a vote really are basically only in a case where you might have a financial interest. Your rules don't provide for an abstention for any other reason other than if you had a financial interest.
That makes sense. Okay.
Mr. Colors.
You know, I mean, if we're gonna go rogue on this one, you know, then let's really go rogue and tell the chairman to nominate Scott Anderson again, because he's the closest thing to a Democrat that's ever going to come out of that district.
No,
if we all vote together, we'll pick up enough Republicans.
No. You
I
might.
don't believe. Dan, are you in that lawsuit or not?
I don't care. He's the closest thing to a Democrat. We'll get out of that district ever.
He's me, so I'm not.
Nice try, Dan. Nice try, but that one ain't gonna work.
Yeah, I didn't think so. But
My suggestion is what I said from the very beginning. We go with the caucus chair of the Republican Party. On the other hand, if you don't want to, I'm not gonna get upset about it, but I would just go ahead, Dave.
I get some of that mentality when the caucus chair is on the prevailing side. Yeah, it was 5-4. But with that mentality or that analogy, what if it was the caucus chair was the only one that wanted this person and everybody else was for someone else? Would you still go with the caucus chair?
I'll
give you my answer on that. My answer on that is the caucus chair, in my opinion, wouldn't come out with a nomination if he didn't win the majority. We went through this ourselves, and we know what we did. The problem I have is when we went into our caucus, as you guys all remember, we discussed it and we decided, okay, we're going to vote. But when the vote is over, that person whoever wins that vote is going to be our unanimous decision, and that's how we looked at it. That's where I think the mistake was. They didn't do that. We did that, and we held together. So that's my point on that one. But I don't know where else we go. We didn't listen. At least I didn't listen to any of the interviews with those 2 candidates. I don't know those 2 candidates. All I'm hearing is rumors about this one, that one, who likes them, who don't like them. So what do we really have to go by except the caucus chair? That's why I look at it that way.
Well,
I mean, that's how I'm trying to remove ourselves. So the Democrats are not making a Republican decision. Hey.
Thanks, Joe. And like I say, I'll tell you what holds a little bit of weight with me. And like I say, in the fashion Boomer went out abruptly like that, that was a bit unorthodox. But what holds a little bit of, a little, if not a lot of weight to me, if it was any one of us on this panel, Joe, Dan, Angie, Dorothy, Bert, that for whatever reason you were moving, whether it was health, family, just had enough, and you gave your 2 months notice, 60 days, 90 days, and said, hey, I gotta move, or I gotta do whatever. It's been a pleasure. My recommendation is John Doe or Mary Doe that I've worked with in the community. They have an interest. I know them, I know their stances, and this is the person I would like to succeed me in my vacancy. In that essence, I think that should carry some weight as well. Now, didn't happen that way in that kind of timeline, but that holds a bit of weight for me as far as who any board member would like to see succeed done.
I agree with you. I agree with you, but my case in this one, I didn't hear anything about that until well after Keith made his decision. So I do agree with you, though. That's always been what's happened in the past, as far as I remember.
Maybe we'll get a new caucus chair by the time we're done. This one.
Could
Oh, then
be.
we're,
I don't know what to do, but I just don't, and I think we can all agree on this. None of us like to be put in this position. Am I right? I mean, this is
Agreed.
a really terrible position, being making a decision for the opposing party. Not that we don't like them, we do, but I've even had some things said to me about pulling things that, because they're unhappy, that it didn't please me at all. And as a minority party, I don't like any time you start talking about taking things from us. We don't have that much to start with. So I'm just saying to you guys, I don't know where else to go with this. If we don't have the RNC coming to us and telling us who they want, along with the chairman of the caucus, then what do we really have? Now we're down to people picking us off one at a time, trying to sell us someone. I don't know these guys. So that's my point on it. Bert.
Yep. Thanks, Joe. Just point out one thing about Boomer, and there was almost a point where Boomer wanted to appoint himself back onto that seat. So I went and listened to every single thing that Boomer says. So, and that is true. By God.
Maybe if Boomer did that, would take a lot of pressure off us. So I guess what I'm saying, and to wrap this up from my point of view, I don't care how you guys, who you pick. I'm just saying that's, to me, what I promised, so that's how I feel I have to go. That's what I promised Keith and the Republican Party, and I'm going to follow through with that. I would want to do that with us.
I agree.
In the meantime, does Keith need to apologize to Mr. Kelly for his comment on the last board meeting? Should we demand?
And just so you know, I talked to him about that very thing, and I don't want to bring that up. It is, again, none of our business. If he said it to you or Mr. DeSoli or Bert, then I'd have something to say. So,
We're not going to vote. We're not going to vote on a replacement for District 4 until he apologizes, right?
That's right.
We could
A slander to Mr. Kelly is a slander all over.
I don't think so. I don't think we're going to do that. Anybody got anything else? Thanks, Dan.
I'm sorry. I just couldn't believe I actually heard it. I had to go back and rewatch the video to make sure.
Call me. Hey, Dan, call me afterwards.
Call you afterwards? All right.
Yeah. Anybody got anything else?
Nope.
Anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
First and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nice being with you guys.
See you guys Thursday.